Wednesday, April the 2nd. Lake levels a little under 915. It's come down about 6 or 8 inches since last week. They've been generating quite a bit of water. And if we get the rain that we're supposed to get, they'll probably keep generating. So it'll be quite a bit of current. The water temperature, it depends where you're at on the lake, but it's pretty much everywhere. It's at least 50 degrees. It's really warmed up a bunch in the last couple days. Mostly clear water is 50 to 51 degrees. And now it didn't get very cold last night, so most everything that's got any stain held the temperature pretty good. It started out about 53, some 54 degree water. Yesterday afternoon we found a lot of 55 to 57 degree water. There's a lot of different things happening. I don't think there's a bait that you can't throw right now to get a bite. Now most of the fish, I don't think a person needs to be fishing much deeper than 15 foot from the bank out. There's still an Alabama rig bite, still a jerkbait bite, a lot of different crankbaits are starting to work, and jigs, and also a shaky head. So, it's kind of almost whatever you get the most confidence in and whatever the conditions kind of dictate. Naturally, if it's real windy, like tomorrow we're supposed to have 20-mile-an-hour winds, it's not going to be a very good day to throw a shaky head or a jig. It'd be a good day to throw a crankbait or a spinnerbait. And we've been catching several fish on a spinnerbait, especially up there in the stained water. Now, from Campbell Point on up to the Kings River, it's got real good color. From the Kings River up the Upper White is real clear. Ants Creek on up to Cape Fair's got a lot of stain to it. And then down lake, probably from about Big Cedar, is where the color changes from there up into Long Creek. So naturally, the stained water is a little bit warmer, and that's where you're more apt to get your spinnerbait bite and crankbait bite. You should work a little better. But if the wind blows and it's cloudy and rainy, the wigglewort and spinnerbait should work pretty much just about any place on the lake. Now, what I'm kind of excited about for tomorrow and the next day, if we get the rains that they're talking about, the ground right now is 60 to 65 degrees, water temperature 55. So when that water starts rushing in the backs of these creeks, the backs of these pockets, that water coming in, oops, got to move out of the camera there, Nick. The water that's coming in is going to be 10 degrees or so warmer than the lake itself. So that's going to be the place to key in. There's going to be washing in a bunch of nutrients. The shad are going to be feeding on some things back there, and that warmer water is going to get the fish, fired up back in there. Now, probably the main thing I'd throw back in there to start out with would be a spinnerbait. Depending on how much color's in the water, if it's real muddy, I'm going to throw something with a lot of white in it. I'll probably throw this coleslaw with white blades. It's got a little white and chartreuse and red in the skirt. If it's just stained like the water is right now up in Long Creek and up in the White River, up in the Kings, I'm going to throw something similar to a table rock shad, something that's more of a clear water bait, 1 nickel, 1 gold blade. Another good one is something with a little bit of chartreuse in it. Now, if we get a bunch of water rushing in the backs of these creeks, it may be real muddy and a whole bunch of debris is going to come in at first. Leaves, a bunch of twigs and sticks. But after it runs in for a few hours, and if you go just about back in as far as you can, that water will clear up back in there after all the debris and stuff comes from. So, I would start probably wherever the first sign of a color change, the mud and stuff, further out in the creek. And if that doesn't work, I'd go right back into where the water's coming in. And especially look for the warmer water, too. The further you get back in, the warmer the water should be. If you don't get them on a spinnerbait, a good thing to try will be the jig back in there, and also a jerkbait. Any kind of cover that's in there, you want to slow roll that spinnerbait by. If there's any kind of laydowns or whatever, my grandson's having a heck of a time with his cookies there. Sorry about that. But it should be really good if we get that rain. It might be a little miserable in the rain, but for a day or two after it, with that water running in, it's going to be really good. Now, the elite fishermen, the Bassmaster Elite guys are here, and their tournament starts tomorrow. And they'll probably catch them from one end of the lake to the next on every bait imaginable. They'll be covering a lot of water and hopefully catching a bunch of big fish. There'll probably going to be some big stringers caught, a lot of big females just waiting to move up and, I thought we was going to get warm weather this weekend. It really didn't get here till Monday. So, Monday and today the water really started to warm up. So I think it's really on the verge of, busting open and be some really good fishing. Now don't rule out a Carolina rig. A lot of different bottom baits have been starting to work. When I've been struggling, but the only thing I can consistently get bit on be a shaky head or a jig, and I'm throwing a half-ounce football jig or a 7/16 or half-ounce finesse jig, and I'm fishing at 8 to 12 foot deep. Same area as I'm throwing a crankbait around secondary banks, secondary points, rock transitions, but I seem like I got to work it really slow to get bit on it. So also another thing, I think I mentioned it last week, if you see them elite fishermen out there, give them plenty of space. There's nothing wrong with following them around, but give them plenty of space to fish. And after they get through fishing a spot, don't jump in there and fish it. Wait till after the tournament, till they're all done, because they may be planning on coming back the next day and fishing it again. Just if you're gonna follow them, just try to pick up on areas of the fishing techniques that they're using, and you can use it later on. So till next week, good luck, good fishing.